Hey, welcome to Steve Davis Show. Special guest today is Tyler Rodgers, New Mexico Highlands graduate, El Dorado graduate, and New Mexico native to basketball. And thanks for coming on the show, Tyler. And
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
hey, this is I just first of all, I just want to say I'm proud of you. I mean, you've gone through some obstacles, and we'll discuss those. And but just kind of reminisce. Let's just go back to your, why basketball? What was your love of basketball? Because I know when I met you, you were passionate. You were always talking to me. You were always,
Yeah.
we even when you were injured, we always have something. You always have something positive to say to me.
Yeah, so well, I'm an athlete to start. Like my first sport was soccer. I started at 4 years old. Then picked up baseball at like 7, 8. Played those. I didn't really start playing. So I always played basketball. So my uncle and my dad were. My dad played Division I basketball at Troy, and then my uncle he played all through high school. And so like I always was around basketball, but like soccer and baseball till about 13. Middle school at Hoover, Dennis Carter introduced me to like real basketball. Come in here, get form shot. Dribble with your left hand, dribble with your right hand, and like the work that takes to be like a basketball player. And I just enjoyed it. I fell in love with it right away. And so from then on, I mean, made A team at Hoover, and then from then just enjoyed high level competition of basketball, and went all the way through college, and now we're here. So
Let's talk about your days in high school. That's I think I met you. Maybe you said I might have met you earlier.
yeah, I think sometime in eighth grade, I think through Dennis Carter, we might have shaken hands or something through the strings at some time during Hoover. But in high school, that's when I first officially met you. We started working out in the oxygen at Eldo, the hook shots and all that. But yeah, so at Eldo, 2014, 15, that's when I started high school. C team, I had Pat Baca and Isaac Massey, great coaches. They taught me a lot. They were part of PGC, Point Guard College, right? I think that's what it stands for. So high level. We're taking notes in a notebook. We're watching film on X Pros. We're lights off in the classroom. So like that again, like I said, I enjoyed the learning aspect of basketball, to learn to the highest level possible, when to cut, when to all that. So that's how like I said, that's how I started it, and then it picked up Roy Sanchez around sophomore year. Mental toughness.
What do you learn from Roy Sanchez?
Toughness, man. Mental toughness. Even if you go talk to him, he's gonna tell you just stay mentally tough. Life is like this, So if you don't have your mental right, it's just gonna keep on doing this instead of doing this. So that's what he taught me, that if your mind isn't right, your progress, your forward progression just isn't gonna exceed what you expect. So mental toughness. I mean, that's all I could say about Roy Santos. He preaches it.
Well, I think the other thing too, you learned a work ethic. I mean, it was it was every day. I mean,
every day.
If I remember, I don't know if you were in his era, but y'all got up in the morning and shot free throws. Or was you part of that group?
Yeah, every morning. Work ethic, 7 a.m. before class. Yeah, every morning.
And then he had you in the weight room, and I mean, he did. Yeah. I mean, he was, and the thing about it, he was right there with you all the whole time.
Yeah. Well, and fun fact about Roy, he still runs marathons at 50, 56, 57. He's still in there throwing 45 pounds on each side of the bench. Like he's still as fit as he was when he was 20. So that just helps motivate young guys, especially in high school, to see a grown up at his age still getting on the treadmill, still pushing weight, still running miles, like pushing himself to the limit, mentally tough, to be able to do that. Goes on bike rides and whatnot. So, Roy's phenomenal. I mean, I recommend everyone to go to Roy if I had to.
Well, he was always so gracious for me because he always lets me go to practice. I think over your years, he'd always let me.
Yeah.
If I got bored on in the afternoon, I was always I was always welcome.
Yeah, right there at 12:30. You knew where we were practicing at.
I'd come in and sit down and then he would always introduce the players to me and always made me feel that I was special. And
you're part of the Eagle Pride, man. That's you're part of the El Dorado little crew.
Well, I don't want to take anything away from that. I do that I try to do that with all the programs and just go in and sit. So I guess a high school junkie for just enjoy.
You're just a basketball head. I've told you that before, though. You just love basketball to a high level, so you just like being around it all the time.
Well, we'll talk about you graduate from El Dorado and then your journey. I mean, you've been going to school for 6 years, and COVID kind of helped you in that part. So let's talk about your journey a little bit.
So right out of high school, unfortunately, a couple of days after I lost the state tournament to Cleveland, I had a major
on a controversial call.
Yeah, we it counted, however you want to see, but we seen the picture. It doesn't count. So I had a major knee injury a couple of days after losing state. I was dribbling up the left side of the court, try to plant right left to go dunk the ball, and then on my explosion up, my knee, almost disconnected. I tore my ACL, my meniscus, fractured my patella, chipped my tibia, and strained my MCL. Devastating. So about
you thought you were done. You thought you were done.
I walked into the doctor's office and he told me you'd be lucky to play another game of basketball at a high level. So going into not even to surgery yet, not even getting my MRI results, just by physical tests, like he told me that. So to hear that at 18 years old, playing the sport, you had college, expectations, college futures, degrees and scholarships, all that just taken away in a moment. It changes. Your life changes in an instant. You got to figure stuff out again. And so about 6 months, no walking. I was on crutches. No pressure on my leg, my right leg. 3 to 4 times a week rehab. Some days I went into twice. So 6 months go on, start walking around again. I start, getting back on the court, form shots, the basics, and I start reaching out to JUCO coaches because I knew that was kind of the next step, right? It's going to be hard to go to a Division I and play, and that was my mindset. Like obviously I needed another year after, so it took me about a year and a half to fully feel strong enough to be playing at a high level of where I like to play at. I ended up going to a JUCO in Illinois called Illinois Valley Community College, thanks to Coach Herm, Chris Herm. He was my coach out there. Picked me up late June, I want to say. It was hard to get recruited because of my injury and put on some weight because I wasn't moving too much. So I play at around 210, 215, and I was about 235 going out to Illinois. So, like I said, blessing for Coach Herman for me to go out there, and, I ended up becoming first team, a couple votes away from an All-American, averaged about 19-8 during conference, a couple blocks. So, it was a blessing, to go out there to Illinois. I got to experience real snow, a real winter, coming from New Mexico, you don't see weather like you do in Illinois. So, I got some great life lessons, met some great friends out there, and learned basketball I had to relearn basketball. I had a new leg. I had a robotic leg almost, so I had to relearn how to play basketball. So without that, I probably wouldn't have ended up at Highlands. Who knows? So I'm appreciative of going out there to Illinois and experiencing that.
I tell you what, we're gonna go to Evergard Roofing and Solar top 10 plays of the week. Come back and talk more about Tyler Rodgers and his career.
Yeah, I had some phenomenal dunks throughout college, and then I had some very, very far 3-pointers in college. I had a couple of dunks there too, but I was more of a shooter back in college. So.
Goes for a low one up the side. Then they're going to chip it in. Off the bar and in. Right, Eagles sling that one through, and it's intercepted. Touchdown for Jackson Fisher.
Now the big handoff to the right side. Breaking tackles, running free to the right, and he is gone. Touchdown, Tigers. That's Jaden Howard.
Herrera's right. That's where he'll be the blocker. For Mumba gets free, and he is going to the house. It's a touchdown for Amiri Mumba, his second. Give to Holloway Jr. Huge hole, and there goes Hirsch. See you later. House call for Holloway Jr. No doubter.
Into the wind somewhat. Ricker headed in, and that's the end of this one. It's Ricker who hits that one to Mekhi Garbarino.
Desmond Carpenter. Standout high basketball player, played for Highlands.
There's Holloway getting loose again. Look out! Hirsch, sideline, lead block, and he is gone again!
Galetti's going to boot to that side, but Cuomo meets him. Galetti's going to launch this one up. Pick number 3 for the Eagles defense. Rushing down the field with it is Daniel Saavedra. Saavedra is going to cut back inside. Still on his feet. There's a holding call, and Saavedra will get in for the touchdown.
Throws it towards the end zone. He's got it. He's in for the touchdown. Javen Smith. Right as the clock winded down to 0.
Got the arm strength to throw that 50 yards. There's 30 of them right there to Thomas, and he scoots free. Thomas up on his feet, 10. Thomas in. Touchdown, Pius. They had 14 seconds. They only needed 9 of them.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
Hey, welcome back to Steve Davis Show. We got Tyler Rodgers, a New Mexico Highlands alumni. Now you're alumni now, and
Yeah,
also
for real.
and also an El Dorado High School alumni, and so you go to Illinois, you play, and then kind of
COVID hit. So if COVID didn't hit, I mean, who knows? Who knows if COVID doesn't hit? You know, that's such a big question, you know, because it was such a life-changing event for everyone in the world. So I started texting Dominguez close to the end of the season, you know, having conversations.
Now, was that because he was recruiting El Dorado players, or
No? So I was talking to Cameron Valencia, my old roommate, old teammate, you know, a lifelong friend of mine. And, you know, I was like, yo, like, send me Coach Dominguez's number. and I'll reach out to him, like, because, of course I would want to play with Jalen and, all the New Mexico guys there. Munn, Nate, TJ ended up coming along, Derek, Rio, JDL, like all the teammates and all the players I played against. But then COVID hit, so I don't know. I might have come back for a second year. I was, decisions, like I said, COVID hit, so we don't know what I would decide. But there was a couple of other schools. Bradley University had interest in me. It's a Division I out there in Illinois, right outside of Peoria, Illinois. I played a couple times at Illinois State in Illinois. So who really knows what would have happened or where I would have ended up if it wasn't for COVID. I ended up taking my knee brace that same year during COVID off, But so then I ended up signing. COVID hit. I ended up signing. We went to Highlands. Unfortunately, we didn't play during COVID year, my first year here during Highlands. And I think that was the most athletic I was. I cut weight that year. I was about 200 pounds. I was benching the most, squatting the most. We didn't get the engineer or the program or whatever we needed to test every week, so we didn't end up playing that year. But that was the start of my Highlands career. I don't know if you want me to continue there or if you had another question.
No, just keep. I know it's very intriguing. What was your conversation with Mike? What was he telling you?
Well, he at high school, I remember after a Santa Fe High game, I don't know if it was a playoff game or we were probably not because we were probably hosting. So we were probably at Santa Fe during an away game. And him and I want to say it was Snow still there. He talked to me and Cameron Valencia after the games, and they were just like, yeah, we're interested. So it started in high school. Mike had interested me in high school. And then, the injury happened. So, I had to, like I said, I didn't want to go somewhere in redshirt. I wanted to go somewhere and play because, I took a year and a half off. I didn't want to sit another year. So then when I reached out to him, he's like, yeah, I always had interest in you. And, I've seen the way your game is kind of developing, and I see that you need to lose some weight. All the stuff that a coach will tell you to help you, move towards there. And he told me that, I have a spot on the team that, if I work hard, I could see potential high minutes. And, so I ended up going there and played the COVID year, my first year with Sammy Barnes-Tompkins. We started that season like 0-10 and then went on a 10-game win streak and made playoffs. We ended up losing to Black Hills. I shot 48% from downtown that year, I want to say. I was the best catch and shoot shooter in the RMAC. Second year struggled. We had Dante. What a guy. Can't argue with his stats. Struggled a little bit, but I still had great games. The games I did shoot were 15 to 20 points. There was just games where I just didn't make shots, and it was just a weird season all around. I don't know if you remember that much too, Steve, but no one besides Dante could make a shot. It felt like no matter what your name was, no matter what shot you took, you could shoot a layup and miss it. But it was just one of those seasons.
Yeah, no, it was that year was the word was consistency from anybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
you might have a good game, and then you might not have nothing for 2 or 3 games, and then, but it was the whole team. There was like no continuity on it like that. When Sammy Barn, we all had that streak.
Yeah,
that was my first year when I started really covering Highlands really well, and and I didn't know Mike. That was my first year with Mike, so we'd go to lunch, and he would say, because y'all had injury problems, you had personal problem, people left the team for whatever reasons or everything. And I just looked at him. I just said, hey, well, you got some New Mexico players that now you don't. They're not going to be looking over their shoulder, because I think you only had 7 or 8 guys, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, no, we had 7 guys on the bench, and then we had like 4 or 5 people hurt. So, what a season!
Hey, we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and pick up on that moment there.
Okay, that works.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
We've been trained, conditioned, and rewarded for doing more. But people weren't designed for all that doing. Our bodies need to settle.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hey, welcome back to the Steve Davis Show. We got Tyler Rodgers here, graduate of New Mexico Highlands and also El Dorado High School. And let's go back and talk about that year where you had 7 players. I mean, that's where you came along and Sonnenberg came along, and what a streak that was.
Yeah. Well, it started with us beating Black Hills. They were 19-0 or something like that coming into New Mexico Highlands, and we beat them, and that was our first win of the conference. We beat the best team, so we got some confidence. I think we ended up going on the road and splitting, and then we win 10 straight or 11 straight after that. Ended up going to Black Hills first round of playoffs, and they got their get back out there in Black Hills. They probably had 2,000 people in that arena, so no excuses. They got us, but exciting moments. Something we did make that Black Hills trip 3 times that year too. So probably my best moments were probably during that 10 game win streak. You don't go on a 10-game win streak too often, so.
Well, it was fun. It was fun because I remember talking with Mike and Andrew, and we would talk about, well, if we just win one game at a time, and that's how y'all took it. Just take one game at a time and not look at, because there was no expectations. Everybody thought the season was over. It was like, oh man, how are we gonna do this for 7 people? And it was good. It was fun to see you guys bond and of course Sammy put a show on. It was every night. It wasn't like just one night he showed. He was the most consistent over those 10 games. He couldn't have played at a higher level.
Yeah, well, we talked about it a little bit. He missed he was in and out the lineup the first 2 to 3 months, so he never got a feel with the team or in basketball. Because we took the leap year from COVID, so. He really took a year and a couple months off from basketball, with the injuries and whatnot. So, once he got back into the groove, you could tell, okay, now he's starting to hit shots. Now he's making the right reads. Now he's looking like he's, Sammy Barnes-Tompkins, what everyone saw, the player of the year, the RMAC, So I'm glad I got to experience a little bit of that too, because Boston College player, high level basketball player right there.
Well, Tyler, I want to speak a little bit more about, here's the thing that, I hear you about you had some dunks and you had this, but
yeah,
what I was most impressed with you, and I don't think I'm even exaggerating on this, almost every game you got a block shot. I mean, it was, I don't know, you had like a streak of like 8 to 10 games or something like that you got a block shot from weak side help that you always came, or you stopped a fast break. So
yeah.
it was so you learn how to play a little bit of defense all this time.
Well, I've always been a shot blocker, even in high school. I averaged like 3 point. I almost set the record at Eldo for most blocks in the career. So, my first 2 years in the RMAC, I was top 15 in the blocks. I'm not too sure where I ended up in my senior year, but I'm pretty sure I was top 25. So, I've always been a shot blocker. In high school, I jumped a little bit higher than I did after the injury, but it's all about timing. Like, I be telling people, like, you don't have to jump high, but if I jump before you, you can't jump higher than me, like, because I'm above you. So I've always tried to jump before people. One, it prevents me from getting dunked on because you can't jump over me. You got to really jump high. But shot blocking is something that is just natural to me. Playing the 5 spot at Eldo, so I've always been the help side, and how Roy plays is high up the line, force him to drive into the help, baseline. So I've always just learned how to rotate to protect the rim, and I love chase down blocks. That's one of my favorite things to do. So of course I'm going to run someone down to go try to block somebody.
Well, and here's the other thing too, and I always say this too, is that really, if you block, you learn to block the shot and keep the ball in play. A lot of people like to block shots, but they don't keep the ball in play, and the team gets the ball back. A great shot blocker, in my opinion, is basically somebody that you block the shot. You either get it yourself, you get it yourself, or your teammate gets the ball, and you're off to the races on the other end of it. And you were. It just amazed me. I would always, before you go into the game, I'd say, all right, here comes, there's going to be a shot block here in the next 2 or 3 minutes or so of the game. That was fun. But let's move on. But I think the biggest thing that, student athlete, and I think you're, you may not have been the smartest student, but you were engaged with the student. You went to class.
I'll admit I'm not a 4.0 student, but I hover around a 3.0. So like I show up to class every day. I try to participate. I try to pay attention. I ask questions when questions are needed to be asked. I probably do need to do a little bit better of job of that. Maybe that'll boost my grade a little bit. The biggest thing about being a student athlete is showing up, right? Just like how you show up to practice, you have to show up to class. You're only going to benefit from it. So that's always just been my mindset. If you don't show up to class, how you gonna know if even if you like the class, two, and how you're gonna pass the class if you don't show up, right? So that's always just been my motto, is just show up to class just like how I showed up to practice, open-minded and ready to work.
We're gonna run out of time, but I think you need to tell your pharmacy, you might give them a little pub right now for them, letting them let you go in the basement and give you time to be on Steve Davis show.
Yeah. But I got another 30 minutes, so I don't know what your time schedule is with your show, but I told them until 11:30. So
no, we're going to be off here in about 30 seconds or so.
Perfect.
So talk about your pharmacy, where you're at doing right now.
So I work at a pharmacy now.
What's the name of it?
It's called Plaza Drugs. It's a local store in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Pharmacists make good money. They do it for the right reasons. Helping people out, saving lives. That's what they do, right? People that have high blood sugar, insulin that needs, whatever. So, and I get to sit down. I got bad knees, so when I'm 50, 60 years old, I won't be complaining. Having to walk around and whatnot. So, it's potential in future accomplishment if I need to.
Well, Tyler, hey, thanks for coming on my Steve Davis show, and you got 30 minutes to sign autographs. There we go.
So. I appreciate you.
All right.
Yeah, I need to hop on the broadcast next. That's the next, Steve.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone. Bye.